Welcome to this podcast for Brighton School of Business and Management students who are studying for the HNC and HND Level 4 and 5 courses. Before we get on to the assignment question, I wanted to draw attention to a couple of points in the introduction. You need to be aware of how individuals behave and how the behaviour of individuals can influence others, as well as looking at group behaviour. You're being asked to use your own workplace experience where possible, but it's also important to identify examples of different organisational structures, cultures and leadership styles from your own research and work these into your assignment answers. Also, keep in mind that management and leadership are really two different things or different skills, and you need to address both of these in your assignment. On to section 1. This is focusing mainly on organisational structure and culture, so it might be worth including here a clear definition of these two concepts in your answer. Bullet point 1 is asking you to compare and contrast different organisational structures and different cultures, but also keep in mind that this section is really about understanding the relationship between structure and culture. So this would suggest looking at issues like, is there a direct relationship between the two? Do particular cultures require perhaps a complementary structure in order to thrive? Or does the structure perhaps define the culture, or does it work the other way around? And if an organisation decides a change in culture is needed, would this in fact be possible without rethinking how the organisation is structured? Bullet point 2 is looking at how structure and culture affect business performance. And I would say here that performance can mean a whole range of things, not just financial success, but it could be looking at issues like, is the company a nice place to work? Is it an innovative company? Does it encourage personal development? And so on. Notice here that you're being asked specifically about how the relationship between structure and culture impacts on performance. So at least part of your answer needs to be looking at issues like whether there needs to be some sort of synergy or harmony between the culture and structure within an organisation to allow it to best achieve its goals. And keep in mind that the term organisation can apply to public sector and non-profit making bodies as well as commercial businesses. So you would also need to consider whether the type of organisation has an influence on this relationship between structure and culture. The last bullet point is about individual rather than organisational behaviour. A large part of your answer is likely to cover the culture and structure of an individual's workplace, as this is essentially what the section is all about. But there are likely to be a range of other influences as well, like the individual's previous work experience, and perhaps cultural and personality considerations need to be brought into this as well. Section 2 is all about different management and leadership styles. Bullet point 1, this is really crying out for some real-world examples of different leadership styles in action that you can find through your own desk research. And this would link nicely then on to bullet point 3, where you're being asked to evaluate different management approaches. You could draw some conclusions from your own research and evaluate how effective you think the management styles in your examples are likely to be, and offer some suggestions as to why you're drawing these conclusions. Moving back to bullet point 2, which is really looking at organisational theory and practice working together. Here again, real-world examples are the ideal way to link these two ideas together so that you can explain the practice, that's what people are actually doing, and then identify the theory or theories that underpin this activity. On to section 3 and motivational theory. Bullet point 1 is a bit complicated. You really need to break this question down. First of all, you're being asked about different leadership styles and how they impact on motivation within an organisation, but more specifically during periods of change. So this question is not looking for a general explanation of management styles. You need to be much more specific than that. Bullet point 2, you could look at this question in two ways. First of all, you could look at the theory and look at what situations and under what circumstances you might apply different theories and why. And the second aspect to this question is the practice, where you could look at different organisations and identify how they might be applying motivational theories within the workplace and with what results. Bullet point 3 is asking about the value of motivational theory. Here you have the opportunity to express your views on whether you think motivational theories and their application is useful to managers, and of course remember to explain why you have arrived at your conclusions and include some examples to support your ideas if you can find them. And finally on to section 4, asking you to talk about teamwork. Although the summary is asking about developing teamwork, you should also give some thought to how organisations might maintain the effectiveness of teams and the ongoing development and motivation of teams once they've been set up within an organisation. If you need any further assistance with this assignment, please contact your tutor.